Hi there, Laura Wilson from Gold Star Work here. Today I am going to show you how to make these two cards. So we're going to be making wreath cards with watercolor painting and acrylic painting today, and a few embellishments and some cotton buds. So let's go get started. So today's card I'm going to combine watercolour and acrylic today. So I'm going to start off with some browns and yellows. So this is raw umber, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium yellow medium and burnt umber. And the first thing I'm going to do is, with my watercolour, I'm just going to cover my piece of paper with some water, and I'm using a flat brush, 700 says, or a 75, flat 75. And then I'm just going to go into various different colours of my browns. Going in, first of all I started with yellow ochre, now I'm just getting a bit of the burnt sienna. And I want these colours fairly diluted. Go in with a bit of burnt umber, which is just a dark brown. And I don't mind if it goes a bit streaky, because I'm trying to make a wood grain, so it's fine if it goes streaky. And then a bit of raw umber. So raw umber is kind of a muddier looking brown than burnt umber. And I'll just take a little bit of that yellow there, just to brighten up any bits. So I want to be a bit brighter. Make sure all my paper is covered where I need it to be. And I'm just soaking up a little bit of that water that's pooling there a little bit. And I'm tipping my paper up and letting it run down. And I have a little bit of a blob just there, so I'm just going to take it off. Now I need this to dry before I do anything else. So I'm going to dry this off with my heat gun and I will be back. So my paper is all dry now, and I'm going to go in with my raw umber and my dagger brush. So this is a 1/4 inch dagger brush. Make sure my paint will flow nicely. And I'm going to be making the little wood grain. I'm using the dagger brush because I'd quite like my lines to go thin and thick and however they're going to go. So I don't mind if they're a little bit different sizes. And I'm going to use the patterns that the paint has already made to help me decide how I'm going to do my wood grain. So make a few kind of knots in the wood. And because we're putting a wreath in the middle, you don't want to do lots of detail right where the wreath is going, which I have a feeling is what's happening here because I didn't really think it through before I started. So there's my little lines for my wood grain. So for the next step we need some kind of round thing. So I'm using a toilet roll and lots of cotton buds. Lots of cotton buds and a hair tie or a rubber band, and I'm going to put cotton buds all around the toilet roll holder like that. So I'm going to go all the way around. This is going to take a while, so I'm not going to show this on camera. I'll come back when I've finished. So I've put all my cotton buds on here. That one's escaping, I'll take that one out. So you don't want to make your band too tight. You want it to be able to hold the cotton buds on, but you don't want it to squash the circle so much that you can't actually see a circle anymore. And then you've got to even up the little cotton buds as much as you can. So you can put them down on the table and push them all down nice and evenly. And you want your so you want your toilet roll to be further down so it makes a nice hole. But you don't want it down so far that you're going to get paint on it, because you don't want any paint on that round bit. So I'm going to use an old ice cream lid, and that's just some dry nail polish on there. And you can use the watercolor paints for this as well. I've got my acrylic paints right here, so I'm going to use my acrylic paints, and I'm using some sap green. I'm just going to put some sap green on there. And some phthalo green. And I might put a little bit of yellow on there. That's just some cadmium yellow medium. And maybe some yellow ochre as well. Over there. And then I'm going to get my picture back, and it's all dry now. And here's my cotton buds. I put a rubber band on there too because my hair tie wasn't quite tight enough, but if I doubled my hair tie over it was making my circle go wonky. So I'm just going to dip my cotton buds into the paint in a very random kind of way, and then put them around. Another nice easy painting exercise for people to do for our little wreaths. So the idea is to move it around so that you're getting an uneven pattern, because you don't want to keep putting it in exactly the same kind of place. Now you can see how I'm getting a line where my toilet roll is getting paint on it, so I've just shoved it down again. And the fun thing about this is it doesn't matter if you make mistakes or anything, because it can all be fiddled around with. A few more over this side. So in case you hadn't worked that out, I'm actually making two different cards here. So I think that's enough of that for now. So I'm going to put that aside somewhere. Where am I going to put that? And I'm going to dry this off, and then we can do the next bit. So I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm going to draw a bow. I'm going to get some red paint. I'm just going to put it here on my little ice cream lid. And I'm just going to use my dagger brush again. I'm going to go in with that acrylic red and go over my bow. And I can go into a little bit of this green and mix it in with some of my red to make a darker colour. And that'll darken up and desaturate my red, so I can do a bit of shading around the bow. So I'm going to go in with some watercolour again, and I'm going to use my ultramarine blue. And find a space on my palette. I can put a bit of ultramarine blue on. So I've just mixed a little bit of that ultramarine blue with a bit of red and a bit of yellow. And I'm going to do some shadowy bits on our wreath. I don't want a really harsh line, so I'm just putting some extra water on it to make sure that there isn't a harsh line around there. I'm going to get another cotton bud, and I'm going to go into some more bright red. I'm going to use two different reds. I'm going to use my permanent alizarin, which is a more crimson-y type of red. So I'm just going to do some little dots for the holly berries. Then I'm going to go into the brighter red and just put the odd little highlighty red one in. You could stop there if you want, and that would be plenty. I'm going to be a bit extra and do a little bit more. Just because now that I've got the paints out, I feel like painting. So I'm just going to do the odd little leaf that looks more like a holly leaf sticking out. And this other one here, I'm going to do some different colours on here. So I'm going to use some Quinacridone Magenta. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white. Now this isn't the best brush to do that with, I have to admit. I'm going to get my number 2 round brush. A bit more control over where the paint's going. I've just mixed up a darker version of that shadow colour, and I'm just going to use that to join my little twinkle lights together. Now this one turned out a bit too thick, so I'm going to take some of that off. And I can do that because it won't shift the acrylic underneath. And I think I might get some lemon yellow in my acrylic paint. No, it's not lemon yellow. And get some cadmium yellow light, which is like a lemon yellow. It's a bit brighter and lighter than the other one. And just do a little kind of highlighty yellow bits in the middle of the twinkle lights. I'm just using a bit of watered down white. To make a little kind of halo around the lights. I was wondering why my baubles weren't quite the right colour, and that's because I stuck my pink over here and then I got it mixed up with my alizarin crimson, so I wasn't actually using the pink, I was using the alizarin crimson. So I'm going to just put a little bit of that pink on there as well, just to brighten them up a bit. I just want some clean white. Make sure my brush is nice and clean. Just redo some of the highlights on those baubles. Now I need to wait for that to dry and then we can turn it into a card. So I finished off the cards and I've stuck a few of these little embellishments on them. So put this one on a green card and put some yellow bits around them. And I've put some red bits around this one. And I've also done a little bit of chalk around the edge of the actual painting. So that's just done with coloured chalk and a cotton bud. So I hope you enjoyed that little painting tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone, happy painting!